I was born and raised in Tehran, Iran. I became an atheist when I was living there. Long story short, you just think in Iran, if you're educated, urbane, it comes with the territory that you're also secular. Religion is something for fundamentalists and provincial people. That, as superficial as that, I became an atheist, and then I immigrated to the United States. And I immigrated to Utah, of all places, which, as you may know, is the land of...
So you didn't become a Mormon.
No, I did not become a Mormon. It is a land of Mormonism, or the Church of the Jesus Christ of the Latter-day Saints. Went through this circuitous intellectual journey in my teens and 20s. Began with Nietzsche, as it does for, I think, a lot of 16, 17-year-olds who are into philosophy. They pick up Nietzsche. Unfortunately, I think there's a cartoon somewhere that I recently ran across where it's like Philosophy 101 student. There's a bunch of steps. It's like ancient philosophy, scholastics, early modern, but he's striding all the way up to Nietzsche and and his progeny. That's sort of what I did.
It's kind of the rock star philosophers.
Yeah, yeah, it can be very exciting to us. Anyway, so that's my background. I became a journalist after going to law school. I never practiced law, thanks be to God. And
yeah, same here actually.
Yeah, okay. And my journalism job eventually brought me to London. Meanwhile, I'm drawing ever closer to Christianity in general and Roman Catholicism in particular. And I happened to go to Mass at the London Oratory kind of accidentally, because I was living there and it was near Kensington and it was nearby. So I stopped in for the famous 11 o'clock high Latin Mass. And that was the trigger. I just said, I'm going to become a Catholic. Definitively. And, both leading up to that point and then especially afterward, this strand of modern English literary Catholicism was highly influential on me. Of course, it's part of the milieu of the oratory. And so some of the books I was encouraged to read, so for example, Monsignor Gilbey's commentary on the Penny Catechism, books by Monsignor Knox, and the whole atmosphere of Graham Greene, etc. And of course Cardinal Newman, Saint John Henry Newman. That was all in the air. Right. And so if you read my memoir, more than any other sort of Catholic sources that people write about, converts or otherwise, for me it's this sort of 19th century up to mid-century British Catholic revival.
What would you say were the key books that you read that helped you on your way?
I would say number one absolutely would be the late Pope Benedict's Jesus of Nazareth trilogy. I read those easily a decade before I became a Catholic, and there's such a rich kind of scriptural theology there, and I think the core lesson for me was this idea that the Hebrew Bible and the New Testament really tell one story. It's one narrative arc of God drawing ever closer to creation, to His creation, to the point of becoming one of us. And of course, there's much more to those books, but I think if I could draw out one theme, that's absolutely the Confessions. Obviously, very, very important. Both in what he says, and the kind of contemporary quality of it, in the sense that you could be reading something that was that was written in 2023. Yeah. What he struggles with, etc., is all just speaks to you immediately, and
the kind of introspection, which you sort of think of as a very kind of modern,
correct, yeah,
kind of way of looking.
Yeah,
at yourself. It does it all right.
It casts doubt on this idea that the subject is a modern, phenomenon. It's a clearly, I don't know, maybe not. What else? I would say that Monsignor Gilbey's commentary on the Penny Catechism was the book I was told to read as part of my catechesis, and It's just very clear, lucid, and he was a kind of an eccentric character, but in this sense, it was very clear, lucid elucidation of basic doctrine. Yeah, I mean, I would say, oh, and the Apologia.
Okay,
Apologia,
right,
yeah,
okay.
yes.